Goal is severalfold. The goal is not necessarily to recruit somebody. I mean, that would be a goal. But the real goal is just to panic the other side and to force them to spend money to counter what it is that you're trying to accomplish by trying to recruit their people. You know, like for example, just a week ago, the British government announced that it was going to have a presence on the dark web. Okay, so why would they need to be on the dark web? Because they're specifically trying to recruit Russians. So what they do is, just to be jerks about it, they say, we're going to go on the dark web and we're going to try to recruit Russians. And so now the Russians are like, now we have to try to counter what it is that the British are going to do to try to recruit our people. So money that would have been spent, let's say, trying to recruit Americans or British or Germans or whatever, has to be spent trying to make sure that the Americans, the British, the Germans can't recruit their people. It's this constant game that's played.
It's like a war strategy, counter strategy, then counter to the counter.
Oh, very much so.
Okay, I'm confused a bit. Why did they have to announce that? I guess makes sense. They want the other side spending money.
Propaganda. Yeah, propaganda. And there's the outside chance that there's going to be some Russian general or some Russian scientist or some guy who works in Putin's office or whatever saying, aha, you know what? I think I will look for the British on the dark web and then volunteer to be a spy for MI6.
I'm guessing that's rare. Volunteers, that's like dream come true.
It happens every single day. Every single day. In fact, they told us in training that the best sources the CIA ever had in its history came from volunteers. And I'll explain why. It's because as a CIA officer, you don't know that this guy John Smith exists, right? Because he works so deep, let's say in the Russian military's nuclear weapons program, that he would never come to your attention. You would never have any opportunity to meet him. He's not gonna be at a diplomatic cocktail party that you're invited to, for example, right? He doesn't have access to Westerners on purpose. So when he volunteers, man, that's an opportunity for you to make the best recruitment of your career.
Okay, you say he doesn't have access to Westerners on purpose. What does that mean? Like the Russian government doesn't want him having access or any contact with any Westerners?
Correct. And also, just because he's not a diplomat, let's say, he's not going to be invited to that, ambassador's dinner that you're invited to. He's just a guy. For example, in Washington, I get invited to a lot of dinners. Right? Foreign embassies have these dinners. And so you put on a suit, you go to the dinner. You see the same people every time. You see the guy from the British embassy, you see the guy from the French embassy, you see the Ethiopian ambassador, you see the Turkish ambassador. It's all the same people. You're not going to see the head of nuclear weapons at the Pentagon. He's not invited. They don't even know he exists. They don't know his name. They don't know how to get in touch with him. And so those people, if they're disgruntled, if they hate their bosses, if there's something that bothers them that might make them recruitable, you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't have access to it. You and I just met, okay? And let's say I go to there's an open house at the British Embassy tonight. I wouldn't expect to see you there because you don't have regular daily contact with diplomats or with that world. And so if you've just been passed over for promotion and you hate your boss and you're mad and you want to get back at him and you want to do that by contacting a CIA officer, you're not going to be able to do it at the British Embassy's open house. You're going to have to physically walk into an American embassy and say, My name is John Smith, and I'm in charge of the Russian military's nuclear program. And I want to work for the CIA.